In this video, I'm going to teach you the exact system that I use to manage my time as a consultant and in corporate strategy. It's designed specifically for corporate life, where priorities shift, tasks come in at random, and your time's often dictated by others. So with that, here's the first step, which is inbox. One of the critical foundations for effective time management is capturing everything. Every task, every request, every obligation, big or small, needs to be captured. And personally, I like to carve out 15 minutes at the start of every day just for this task. I grab a coffee, I find a quiet space, and I just jot down all of my tasks roughly in a notebook. And to ensure that I capture everything, I check my inbox, I check my Slack messages, I recall any requests from my manager, and I jot down any to-dos that are bouncing around in my head. And by the end of the 15 minutes, I'm generally pretty confident that I've captured all of my tasks. But why is this important? Well, when you start the day with a clear picture of exactly what's on your plate, then you can make smarter decisions about how to spend your time. And one of the enemies of time management actually is reacting to a task that you hadn't planned for, so we need to plan for them. And once we're happy that we've captured all of our tasks, it's time to move to the next step, which is prioritize. So now we've captured all tasks that we need to do, it's time to prioritize those tasks. And the biggest mistake that people make when prioritizing is that they confuse the urgent with important. And here's what I mean. So apparently Dwight D. Eisenhower, the 5-star general and president of the United States, once said, especially when our affairs seem to be in crisis, we are almost compelled to give our first attention to the urgent present rather than the important future. And we're all guilty of this. We should be focusing on important tasks, but it's psychologically challenging to let an urgent but not important task slip. It helps use a formal tool to help categorize our tasks, and fittingly, it's called the Eisenhower Matrix. Now, I'm not going to sit here and walk you through the Eisenhower Matrix in detail because honestly, you don't need me to, but here's a quick overview. Overall, it compares urgency and importance. Tasks that are low important and low urgency should be ignored. Tasks that are low importance but high urgency should be delegated. Tasks that are high importance but low urgency should be scheduled. And finally, tasks that are high importance and high urgency should be prioritized. So for each of your tasks, sort of mentally evaluate them on urgency and importance to see where they land and be ruthless about it. Because once that's done, you'll start to get a sense of exactly which tasks you should be focusing on. Now at this stage, I like to quickly sense check my prioritization with my manager or my client. And look, you don't want to run through the full list with them, but it's always worth mentioning at a high level, kind of which tasks you'll do first and which tasks you'll do later. And once you've done that, it's time to move to the next step, which is schedule. By now you've captured all of your tasks and you've identified which are truly important. So now you need to ensure that you commit time to complete them. And the most important concept to understand here is called time blocking. Basically, you need to carve out and dedicated time to get the task done. And as a corporate professional, you're juggling so many things that are fighting for your time. You've got meetings to attend, emails to read, messages to respond to, and people who just want your time. So it's critical that you actually set aside time for your tasks. And this happens in your calendar. So I put an event in my calendar for each of my tasks, which essentially reserves that time for them. And when people send meeting invites, they'd see that I'm already busy doing tasks and their meeting would have to wait, usually. But obviously you should prioritize the high important, high urgency tasks first. They should probably be slotted in today, and then you can focus on the high importance, low urgency tasks, which can be scheduled further out. The mistake that most people make at this point is they don't put in enough time or enough buffer. If the task requires pre-reads, planning, or other people's input, always add more time. And when the time comes to do the task, please treat it like a meeting. Like turn off your messages, don't multitask, sit there and focus on what you should be doing. Sometimes I would literally sit on the other side of the office so no one could find me and bother me. So I finished, right? The task's getting done. Well, yes, but things don't always go to plan in the corporate world. Sometimes we need to adjust. It would be nice if you could plan your day every morning, set aside time for your task, and simply sit down without distractions and slowly chip away at them. But unfortunately, the corporate world just doesn't work like that. The biggest thing that would happen to me when I was in consulting is that I get emails from the client or from the partner with so-called critical tasks or meetings. And when this happens, my advice is first, just take a breath. Generally speaking, whoever's sending you the request doesn't really know what you're working on, so they don't really know whether their request is the most important thing to be doing. So when any new task comes in, go back to step 2, evaluate the new task on the matrix and see where it lands. Maybe it's something that you should do immediately. Maybe it's something that should be scheduled. Either way, let them know and make sure that you're both aligned on when the task is getting completed. Then it's simply a matter of adjusting your calendar to fit in the new task, but make sure that you do adjust your calendar. This whole process only works if you keep on top of carving out time for every task. And throughout the day, as more tasks come in, continue to quickly assess them on importance and urgency and shift around your calendar as you need to. That's how you manage your time as a corporate professional. But if you're having trouble communicating with your manager and managing their expectations about when tasks will get done, you might want to check out my video on effective communication, which should appear on screen now.